Steve Dangle Podcast. Powered by Sports Interaction. Wanna bet?
The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Steve is looking for attention from Jesse, and Jesse will not give it.
No.
He will not have it. He will not give you what you want. You can be as clingy as you want to be.
That episode where they're of The Simpsons where they're just explaining some elephants are dicks.
Yeah.
Homer starts headbutting the guy. That's me.
I like that you make a Simpsons reference, because if you do, you get Jesse's attention.
And it makes me old.
No. Come on.
Yeah.
If you're talking about a good Simpsons episode,
Yeah.
you're old.
Is it
Came
okay?
out like 35 years ago.
I know that they're
Not
still
that
running new episodes. Are the new episodes any good? Because Family Guy was bad for a bit and then got good again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the new Simpsons. Anybody watch?
No idea.
It's all
I've
on
seen like
Disney
a
Plus.
couple, because they're on Disney Plus, but they've gone, it's not the same Simpsons because it's more relevant to now, I guess.
So they're like a little bit more like South Park, where it's like,
Yeah, like they'll do like modern stuff, and it throws me off because I'm not used to it. It's like, oh, Lisa's got an iPhone, and that's weird to me.
yeah.
They're talking about Snapchat,
Okay. Whoa. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Now, for a couple of weeks now, we've been asking you about the Rizz gods in your life. And
Weeks.
are you one of them? Now, Jesse, I've just sent you a video. This is from Adam. Adam
W.
Adam Veen.
not.
It's not from Adam.
No, it's Ada.
Oh, Ada.
Ada.
Dumbass.
Ada McVeen, not Adam Bean.
Ada's definitely not an Adam.
It's hilarious, though.
Hey, damn.
It's 10 seconds long. Is Ada a Rizz god?
Babe, cap or no cap? Am I a Rizz god for real?
You a Rizz Dawg for real. Big cat.
Oh.
Big cap.
No, that means she's not a Rizz god.
Big
oh,
cap?
dear.
Yeah, because that'd be Cap.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, I think he called her Rizz Dawg.
One more time.
Do it again.
Babe, cap or no cap? Am I a Rizz god for real?
You a Rizz Dawg for real.
No, he did call her Rizz Dawg.
He did not understand the assignment in the slightest.
No.
I still think it's the best response. The rest of
he
them have
didn't-
been, what?
He didn't break stride.
No.
He tried. You know what? Instead of refusing to throw out the first pitch, he threw it 10 feet wide. But he still got up on the mound.
It's the 50 cent throw?
the 50-cent throw, almost the Victor Wembanyama throw.
Whoa. Yeah?
Yeah,
Did you see, I don't know if you saw the highlights last night, but Garrett Cole intentionally threw it like 10 feet above the batter?
Yes.
It was good.
I saw the John Boy breakdown because I'm obsessed.
John Boy rules.
John Boy rules.
Absolutely rules.
I think he meant to say that she is a Rizz god and just didn't understand the cap and no cap part.
No, she's a Rizz Dawg.
You know
Rizz
what?
Dawg.
I think we need to go back.
She's a Rizz Dawg.
I think we need a clarification from the two of them. So, Ada,
Yeah.
if you could send us a
Well,
clarification.
Ada's tweet says, "I am the Rizz Dawg god." Coming home from the
Now,
vet school,
see, can you
and
be
got
both?
Dogs on the mind.
None of
So,
us are better for this.
Yeah, no.
All worse off.
We're gonna start today's show by playing a little bit of a game. And the game is called,
Cap or no cap, am I a Rizz god for real?
well, it has to do with a cap. How much is a baseball hat with Curtis Joseph, Wendell Clark, and Steve Dangle's autograph on it worth? There is also somebody else, but I can't read who it is. The description says a Toronto Maple Leafs hat bought for $30 was then signed by 3 hockey legends and Steve Dangle. How much? How much is it worth?
I appreciate that he said what the purchase price is. I don't know how to break it to you. As soon as someone starts scribbling on the hat, that $30 doesn't matter.
Daryl Sittler is the last one.
Oh, and who's he?
Right. So you got Wendell, Cujo, and Daryl Sittler, 3 of the greats, and Steve Dangle. How much is the hat selling for? It has not yet sold.
$6.
How much you actually?
Steve already knows.
You know.
I forgot.
You replied to the tweet.
I think it's $6.
It was originally listed for $150. It's been discounted almost 70% to $65.
Wow, you could get Like a James Reimer figurine for that.
Yeah, that's with inflation. Adjusted for inflation, that's how much your James Reimer figurine would have cost. Because it cost you $50 7 years ago.
You don't know when you signed this?
So,
because the person came up to you and was like, "Look whose signature is on this," and I'm gonna put, and then you put yours right above them.
no, so I want to say confidently I signed that hat first because I sometimes sign on the brim like that, but I wouldn't have done that if I was above Cujo, Sittler, and Clark.
Are you sure?
It definitely looks like you signed it last.
I think you signed it last year.
Yeah, because it looks like you squeezed it in across the top of their signatures.
And I have heart palpitations every time someone gives me a hat like that because of all the ridges. There's so many ridges in it.
I feel like if you had signed it first, you would have gone in the middle of the brim. You know?
Maybe you're right.
It looks like you signed it across the top of their signature.
Hey, you want my big fucking autograph? Here's my big fucking autograph. I don't know when I signed that. I was thinking maybe the Leafs Niagara trip that I went on because Cujo was on that boat. I think Clark might have been on that boat, but Sittler wouldn't have been. Yeah. Sorry for fucking up your hat, bro.
Yeah, it's funny. And lastly, I wanted to. We were asking last episode about the effort. Let's see some highlights. So you were mentioning the Justin Hall ones where people were making TikToks and poor Justin Hall giving the puck away. Which I mean, you could literally do that for any defenseman.
No.
But
yes,
but we have somebody did a effort. Here's Hap Day highlights.
Oh,
Hap Day. Here we go.
Damn, look at him. Throw bows, Hap Day. It's just slashing.
This is real
awful
highlights.
Footage.
Well, that's how they used to shoot it, right?
It should not have. Yeah, where did you find this footage?
I'm sure it's available online now.
Well,
look at that. And the goalies they don't even bend their knees.
I believe Rogers Communications owns that footage on account of they own all NHL footage throughout history.
I don't think they're going to care about footage. They can't commercially.
Yeah, you want to bet?
I will put money on
I don't
that.
work there anymore.
I can bet that. And I will bet that Rogers is not going to give a shit about that.
I don't work there anymore. You're going to be like,
I bet they're not
Steve
like,
who?
We could have monetized that. Hap Day footage.
Steve?
No. I would have to email them back and be like, guys, are we serious? Anyway.
And they would respond, yes.
I don't think it'll be a big deal, man.
We're a telecom. What did you expect?
Right. You're right. Now, listen, it's one of those interesting days. This is sort of the calm before the storm in terms of headlines. And there are headlines. There are things to talk about, and we will get to them. But, I think it is sort of fascinating because of what's about to happen next week. I don't know if it's really sunk in with everybody what kind of week we're in for. And I want to run it down for you.
It didn't sink in until you mentioned it the other day.
We got Monday, I believe, is the NHL Awards. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. But it's the warm-up, right? Yeah. It's the opening act in a 3-act fucking night.
It's part of the reason, like I know several NHL folks are heading to Nashville on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're going to get a long weekend.
Well, and I think the best part about the NHL Awards is not really who wins. Because even Matthews winning the Hart, people were like, yeah, it's great. Let's win in the playoffs. Which is weird. I think the thing people care about the most is the fits. It's the best dressed event. They
want to know, cap or no cap, who is the Rizz God for real?
For sure. I hope that guy's there, by the way.
I do too.
So obviously you're watching the NHL Awards. If you are watching them, if you're spending your Sunday night on them, I don't know if I recommend it, but definitely be looking for the fits because they actually give you some good ideas for style for the summer.
I bet
these guys are well dressed.
Those shoes where you don't wear socks.
Then we got a day off.
Yeah.
And I call Tuesday speculation and trade day.
Ooh.
Mostly speculation, very little trade. But it's the day before the draft. We will be in Nashville on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I guess we're flying out Thursday so we can be home for Friday. We will not be skipping a show next week. We will be doing more and more content as we go through this. And there will be a live event thing, and we could talk about that too, Jesse. I don't know if you're ready to announce that yet. Are we ready to announce that? Are we ready to talk about that?
No,
we're not ready to talk about it. So Friday we'll talk about it. Don't worry, there'll be things. But Wednesday, we got the draft, and it's the first round. And that's the exciting thing. So we're going to be doing some stuff for that. And that is going to be really exciting because we think, last year we expected a big trade in the first round. I don't even know if we got one.
DeBrincat.
Okay.
A lot of stuff happened in the morning.
Right.
I
wanted it to be on the draft floor, man. I want it to be on the draft floor.
I know. It's better.
It's so much better.
It's better. Well, a lot of it, here, we'll get into it.
When Gary says we have a trade to announce, that's
the best.
You get hype. You get a little hype.
And everyone boos him regardless. But if it's a trade for the hometown team, you're going to want to hear this. And everyone goes, whoa.
And then the next day is obviously the second round. There are a bunch of trades, but that is, I find the second round and beyond the nerd trade time. Because very few major players get moved, but you see a lot of draft picks. We moved the 150th pick for 175 and 195. It's like, that's cool.
So there's an air of, when there's a big trade on day 2 of the draft, there's an air around the building, and especially with all the media, of why did you do that? You couldn't have done this yesterday? Why'd you do that? You're an asshole.
Yeah.
And I just remember, because people are literally thinking, a lot of people are flying out that night, and they're thinking about their flight home, and all right, let's just do a quick write-up on all the picks and get a couple sound bites. And 2019, PK Subban was traded from Nashville to New Jersey.
I remember that. And I remember listening to the podcast on a train from London to Liverpool because I wasn't here.
No, I think
stupidly took a vacation.
Is that the Shea Weber one?
Oh, that's Shea Weber. Oh,
yeah. How do I remember your life better than you?
Yeah, well, you shouldn't be surprised.
Sleep.
I know.
You need to sleep, young man.
You're right.
No, but there was definitely an air of you traded PK Subban at the end of the second round.
You jerks.
You suck.
Yeah, fair enough.
So now we got to do a write-up on this while literally hundreds of players get drafted. You suck.
Yeah. Exactly. And then Friday's going to be interesting because we're going to start to hear some of the quote unquote things that might happen on Saturday. And Saturday is free agency. Saturday is Canada Day, and it does not exist in the hockey world. To me, Canada Day doesn't exist. It's all about free agency. But there's already people like Milan Lucic and apparently even maybe Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who actually is a free agent, I guess, so he can talk to anybody. But Milan Lucic is not technically a free agent until the July 1st, but his agent has been given permission to speak to any team.
Oh, there you go. I was going to say there is no tampering, but if he's been given permission.
Yeah. No, that's totally allowed, and they never announced that. So sometimes, for sure, that Friday will be tampering central. No one's going to call anyone on it because everybody's guilty of it. And you're going to start to hear the movement, and then Saturday, Sunday, that's when it's going to get crazy. And we obviously will have our free agents show, which will look a lot like our trade deadline show, right? Something breaks, we're putting out stuff, we're putting out content immediately, and we're going to be here all day long. So it's going to be lots of fun. And I think so right now today, it's sort of like this is the last sort of show that we really get that's sort of calm. This is the breather before it gets crazy.
It's going to pop off real soon. I don't know when you wanted to get into the Blake Wheeler stuff.
Oh, we're getting into it in a minute.
I've been given the indication it's going to pop off real soon.
Now you can go to the NHL props section at sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. Obviously 19 plus, please play responsibly. And you can bet on who's going second and who's going third because we assume we know who's going first, but you can bet on Connor Bedard going second.
Actually, what was it, like 94?
91.8.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, don't think so. 92 times your money, essentially. No. I want to ask you guys, I'm going to throw a name out there. Okay? Andrew Crystal.
Andrew, there's a host?
No, there's an Andrew Crystal who is getting drafted this year.
There is too old for
Nate Danielson who's getting drafted.
He's a radio host.
No, he's not. No one remembers that name.
No?
Axel Sandin Pelika. That's a hell of a name.
It sure is. It's an excellent name.
So you can bet over under on their draft positions. Mm-hmm. Jesse, do you have anybody in there that for you is like, oh, that's a lock, I'm doing that?
Yeah, we did this last episode.
I know, but I want to go. I want to hit it again.
Give it again
because I think it's kind of cool. Yeah,
Danielson. I said top 9.
I think you're. Oh yeah. You were convincing on that. Is Michkov in there for over under?
No,
he's just for specific. No. Damn, because that's a fascinating.
Do you really think that he would drop that far? That Sports Interaction would even need to have him in that? He's got to go in the top 5.
It's one of those things.
It's an asset.
It's one of those things though where it's like a rock picking up momentum going downhill. Like it happened with Cam Fowler.
Shane Wright.
Shane Wright to a much lesser degree though. Like first to fourth. I guess
What was the Cam Fowler fall?
he was supposed to go like third and he went 12th. And
That's rough.
Cherepanov, that was a big one. A lot of people don't remember it for obvious reasons, but he was supposed to go something like 5th overall, and I think he went 17th. And they just kept putting the camera back to him. John McFarland, I remember, was once upon a time looked at as like a top 10 pick. He didn't even go in the first round. And then, like, you just need the gasp. The first gasp. Like the player who is picked in the first round who wasn't even projected to like go until the 4th or something like that. I can't even think of the dude's name. There was this big, huge dude the Rangers took 10th overall, and everyone was like, who? And it was in recent memory, and I've told this story before, but in the early-ish days of the Fan 590, when the Leafs selected Nick Antropov, I think it was 10th-ish overall, they did not have... They had to print out info sheets to use on the radio because obviously they didn't really have high-speed internet. And they didn't have any info on him when the Leafs picked him because it was such an off-the-board pick.
Right. Turned out to be an okay one.
You know who was one in recent memory? Yegor Chinnikov with Columbus. Remember?
Yeah. Yeah,
He
it
went-
was off the board.
It was like 20.
Yarmo's known for that.
Yeah, but like he was picked like 100 picks early. He looks good though.
He does. Jesse, what do you got?
You thinking Braden Schneider?
No, not Braden Schneider. He's a
Sean
huge
Day?
kid. No, here go to the Rangers draft history.
Yeah, that's
I'll be
what I was
able to
just
do it.
looking at. Yeah.
Who was it?
So how far back are you thinking?
Farther.
Oh,
JT Miller.
Some loser
Dylan-
named JT
Dylan
Miller.
McElrath.
Mac.
Oh, I remember him.
Dylan McElrath, who I think is still playing.
You said he's a big dude. He's 6'5", 232. There you go.
That is a problem on Blades.
They took him 10th overall, and he ended up playing. He's still playing. He's on the Hershey Bears. Played 60 games last season for the Hershey Bears, but only 72 career NHL games.
How many points?
6.
God damn.
Not great for a 10th overall pick.
Yeah, no, that's tough. That feels like you could have taken him in the second, and that would have been a stretch. Oh boy,
He's still playing.
he's still playing, but
102
Shit.
penalty minutes last season in 60 games for the Hershey Bears.
wonder what he's up to. Beating the shit out of dudes by the sound of it.
He's doing this for the Hershey Bears. Fighting guys. How many playoff penalty minutes did he have in 19 games?
Oh, wow.
Is it
Playoff
a lot or a little?
It's a lot.
It's a lot. 80.
44.
That's
That's a lot.
That's 2023 a lot.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
19 games, 44 penalty minutes.
How many points?
2.
Hey,
That's not bad.
that might be higher than his
You
regular
score a goal?
season.
Yeah, 1 goal,
Hey,
1 assist.
Let's go in the
value.
playoffs.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right.
I like
plus 6 on the plus minus.
Feel the wrath.
He actually got up to the Capitals because the Capitals are so hurt and everybody played for the Capitals this year.
Yeah.
He played 6 games for them.
And then when he got called up, they said it's time to feel the wrath. Jesse
Are you saying that right?
McElrath. No, 100% because it's not
Not
pronounced
McElrath.
the way it's spelled at all.
McElrath.
McElrath.
Yeah.
I know. You look at that.
Yeah, I'm like that doesn't look right.
Not McElrath.
No.
Guess what? It's McElrath.
All right.
There you go.
All right. Now, Steve, I know you're dying to talk about Blake Wheeler,
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
but I think this conversation should go ahead of Blake Wheeler
Sure.
only because I think it affects Blake Wheeler.
Okay.
Okay. So here's what we know. Chris Johnson of SDPN says it's believed that the 2023-2024 salary cap ceiling will be set at $83.5 million, which is an indication that the NHL and NHLPA will not increase the $1 million called for, more than the $1 million called for in their collective bargaining agreement.
Wait, so it's going to be set at 83.5?
Right.
But it's already set at 83.5.
No, I think
Yeah,
think it'll
so
go up a
they could have accelerated it, but the NHL was trying to negotiate and get something out of it from the PA, and the PA said no.
So it's going to be set at 84.5.
No, 83.5 because it was 82.5 last year.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, I thought it was 83.5 last year. Oh, I guess
82.5.
Cap Friendly already made the change then.
They did. They
Okay.
did.
Oh, it's that tricky time of year.
Yeah, they did make that change. Now,
It's
Okay, that makes more sense.
Cap Friendly in June is like having to write the date in January. You're gonna fuck it up every time.
Tic Tac Tomar made a really interesting point. The salary cap hasn't seen an increase of more than $2 million in a single season since 2016. The salary cap in 2016. Now, 2016 may not feel like a long time ago, but that is 8 years ago at the end of this next season. 7 years ago right now.
It was the year Matthews was drafted.
It was $73 million back then. It then jumped to 75 and then had a huge jump, a 6% jump to $79.5 million.
Whoa.
Right?
League's out of control.
But then you have the next year, it goes up 2.5% to 81.5 and stays there for 3 straight years because of COVID. Then the last 2 years, 82.5, 83.5.
You want a comparison? The NBA salary cap since 2016. In 2016, it was set at $94 million. 2017, 99. That's a 5% jump. 2018, 101. That's a 2% jump. 2019, a 7% jump to 109. 2020, it stayed flat. 21, 112. 2022, 123. 2023, 134. So from 2016 to 2023, the NBA salary cap has gone from $94 million to $134 million.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of percentage.
that sucks. That's big.
Now,
That's
there
ass.
is no choice next year, barring a worldwide life-changing event like COVID.
Can you keep your voice down, man?
There is no option but for the cap to go up quite a lot.
I was
And
trying to look for salary.
Yeah, I was like,
before
what are
the
you
04
not paying?
Before
Yeah,
the 0405 lock.
And how are you not wowed by the fact that that the salary cap went up like $50 million over 5 years in the NBA? It's crazy.
Well, I'm not wowed by it because it's a league.
Right. So
Good for them for being a league.
now this is going to make
An
things
association, sorry.
a pain in the butt for a lot of teams looking for extensions. When you're talking about Austin Matthews, how do you even begin to negotiate that salary, that next extension? Because now it's only 83.5 right now. We know there's going to be a jump next year. We just don't know how much. We don't even know how much money the Players Association actually owes the league.
Now,
We've only done the counting till I believe the end of 2020, which means 2021 and 2022 in terms of paying the league back by the players have yet to even been calculated.
Adam, what do we know about this free agent class?
It's not great.
It sucks. Forget not great. It sucks. Dmitry Orlov's probably the best player available.
He's going to make a boatload of cash.
That's insane. And Barbashev is potentially going to get Nichushkin money, which I love Barbashev, but we were not discussing that a few months ago. Agents aren't stupid. I think this is by design, man. Very few of the star players are available. And I certainly understand from a team perspective why you'd want to negotiate a deal now for a player who's up in a year, like Matthews, like Timo Meier, etc. Or Timo Meier's a different situation. Why would you negotiate a long-term deal now? Why? There's no point.
There is
And listen, I know that goes against what I've said for Matthews. I am selfishly hoping he signs 8 years league min. Okay? There's a hard cap. I want my team to win.
Yep.
I know that's not going to happen. So, I mean, if a player signs 6, 7, 8 years, you're going to have to probably grossly overpay them. But you're going to be, what did Dave Nona say? Or was it Jim Benning? Or
which of the bad GMs said it?
Mark Bergevin? I'm trying to remember.
Oh,
They
man.
don't care-
What a trifecta.
I know. They don't care about years 5, 6, and 7 of the deal. I don't remember if that was Josh Anderson or David Clarkson or
Louis Erickson or
whichever one of those contracts they were
OEL or
talking about.
Nona said that, by the way. He did
Notice,
say
okay. So teams are thinking very short term these days. There's less of tomorrow than there used to be. I've said that a million times. So why sign an 8-year deal with someone that is going to be grossly bloated for the next 2 years? And it's going to help you down the line. You might not even be the GM down the line. What do you give a shit? I think there's going to be a lot of frustrating short-term deals.
With the way the salary cap's going, it's not even going to increase that much where we're going to see giant jumps in salaries either.
4 or 5 million.
Yeah, it's like Cap Friendly has a projection on the 4% and the 5% cap raises that are expected in the next 2 years, and it only bring it up to 92 million in 2026, which is a significant amount of money considering we're at 83.5 right now. But it's not that Austin Matthews could go from making 14 to 20, you know.
It's probably 14 to 15 and a half.
Yeah. So we're talking about that range. And I don't know, the revenues in the NHL and the way they're distributing it to the players is just so disappointing, because you'd want these numbers just to be there now and for the salaries to be there, so there isn't so much just waiting by these GMs and the players and finagling their deals according to the salary and according to the salary cap, and instead just signing now because you have cost certainty in the future and that you might not get screwed against the salary cap later. Like, I wish there was just some like, hey, this is the plan, so that players can just commit to teams or commit to free agency, so that we're not waffling these players' careers based on just revenue models.
Right.
This is a pretty decent summer to get bought out. And like,
why do you say that? That's what?
Well, there are candidates, right? So OEL is already one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Blake Wheeler may become one.
So tell us what you know about Blake
Matt
Wheeler.
Murray may become one. No, let me.
Sorry.
So first of all, you're getting paid not to play.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, even though you were grossly overpaid, it doesn't mean you're not an NHL player.
Mm-hmm.
You could make that argument for Matt Murray that, you know, maybe he's cooked. Blake Wheeler's got hockey in him. He just shouldn't be making 8.25. Oliver Ekman-Larsson has hockey in him. You just shouldn't be making over $8 million. Because this free agent class stinks, you're going to hit the free agent market and immediately at least enter middle of the pack, if not upper middle. And you'll be able to make, you know, when you're a UFA, you make too much money. You overpay for UFAs. That's how it works. You know, you have a 1 in 32 chance of signing these guys. So if you get bought out, it's not a doomsday scenario.
Okay.
These guys.
Now let's talk about Blake Wheeler.
Let's talk about Blake Wheeler. So SDPN reports from last night.
By the way, you should start putting that in your tweets if you're going to break news.
Yeah, well, I want to make sure I'm right first.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Okay,
This one I'm pretty confident on. I know with Steve Staios, I jumped the gun a little bit. I still think that'll end up being right. But anyway, Blake Wheeler. I've been told he's played his last game as a Jet.
Okay.
How that comes to fruition, I don't know. I wasn't given confirmation he's going to get bought out or traded. Darren Dreger this morning reported there's some trade interest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't doubt that. He's not a bad player, but 8.25 is ridiculous. Now, if the Jets were to buy him out, they would save cash. I don't remember the amount of cash, but his cap hit would be, instead of 8.25 for 1 year, it'd be 2.75 for 2. That's pretty good savings this year and next. Gives you a little bit of flexibility with what you can do retooling your team. Mark Scheifele, Connor Hellebuck are the two big names that come to mind there. And any flexibility is good. If you're big into the rumor mill for what happens with Blake Wheeler next, his off-season home is in Florida, and the coach who made him captain for a number of years was Paul Maurice. And I thought about it, and I've been critical of Blake Wheeler and the way he plays and defense and everything. Florida? I think that's a pretty good fit.
A lot of questions about how he is, and he's addressed them to the media several times in the dressing room.
Yeah, but he's going to walk into a dressing room, which I think is different. The Jets locker room is his. Florida, he'll be walking into one, and he'll have to adapt or die. You know
yeah,
what I
but
mean?
Paul Maurice is probably sick of the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, like
I don't think that's the guy who wants that Winnipeg to come back to him.
Like he's the only coach that fired his team. Like,
I don't know if you've
what
ever
other
been
resignation
to
have you
Sunrise, Florida.
seen?
It ain't Winnipeg.
Mid-season, the guy was like, get me out of here.
Yeah, I've just heard they're really tight.
Okay, question for you, General Manager Jesse. Okay, so you're in this NHL 23 scenario,
Okay.
you are the general manager of the retooling Winnipeg Jets.
Okay.
Do you buy out Blake Wheeler's contract? It will save you $2.75 million, but will cost you $5.5 over the next 2 years. So $2.75 million against the cap each year, but the actual money saved is $2.75 million.
Oh yeah,
Okay?
it's so
You do
easy.
that?
The math, like when you put that out there and everybody did the buyout calculator stuff, you're like, why wouldn't they do this? That's $6 million that you're saving. It makes so much sense.
But you could take this year. You're probably going to trade Connor Hellebuck. You're probably going to look at trading Mark Scheifele if you can't get him on an extension. Do you this year go, okay, we'll eat the $8 million. Can we find a taker at $4 million for Blake Wheeler, right? Give him to another team. Don't get much back. Maybe you get a 5th round pick or something like that. Let's say that's what it is. Usually they give you a 5th round pick and future considerations, right? Do you just take the cap hit for the year that you're expecting not to be good and then be cap clear for when it jumps probably 5 to 7% next year?
I just don't know if that scenario's out there.
Can you do that deal this week? Can you do that deal at the draft? Can you do it prior to free agency or during free agency? If that deal's out there to get assets back, then yeah, you'd take the assets over the just losing the guy.
Uh,
It could happen as soon as today. They got to make a decision.
This is okay.
Yeah.
This is
So
the
if
guy
the trade's out there, that you make the trade.
you're telling me a 55-point guy isn't worth $4 million to a team? A 55-point tough right wing guy who is 6'5" and 220 pounds of muscle. Forget all the criticism we've had.
No.
You're telling me he's not worth $4 million?
in a reduced role I'll use the Panthers again as an example. As in a reduced role, doesn't have to do as much in the locker room. Just rack up points on the top power play, second power play.
For a Stanley Cup contender, because that's where he's going.
Yeah, and I kind of like him as a fit for the Panthers in that he likes to score and he's belligerent as hell.
And look at this playoff performer too. 65 total playoff games in his career, 45 points.
Blake Wheeler's got 0 career 30-goal seasons. I had no idea.
Yeah,
Actually,
Yeah.
well, he's playing.
close. He got close.
He hit 90 points, didn't he?
Two times.
Twice. 91 twice. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
He's an assist king.
Yeah, so I mean, there's
value.
could
there.
be a taker out there.
There
but
has to be.
there's-
You'd be crazy not to.
But there's-
at $4 million.
Is a team able to take that on, and do the Jets want to take that on? Because they might not.
Well,
I'm not saying he's going to get bought out. I was told that's the most likely scenario, but a trade wasn't ruled.
Well, and in real dollars, it costs you less. Because I can go to Jets ownership and I could say, listen, it's either going to cost you $4 million or it's going to cost you $5.75 million. So which do you want it to be? Because I'll eat the cap this year. It'll cost you $4 million and then he's gone. But if we spread this over 2 years, it might be easier for you to pallet, but it is going to cost you $1.5 million or $1.75 million more to buy him out
now, what if you have to,
in real dollars.
if you have to sweeten the pot along with retaining half?
I don't think you're going to have to.
For someone to take him? No.
I'm just saying, well, because draft picks cost money.
If Josh
Draft picks
Anderson
have a financial value.
if perennial underperformer, same type of player, Josh Anderson, and I like Josh Anderson, I just want him to put his shit together and be more consistent. If he can be traded at $5 million, I don't understand, and I understand he's 10 years younger than Blake Wheeler. Blake Wheeler still played 72 games last year, and he's going to be 37 by the time the year starts. He's an August 31st born baby. But this is a guy like Pavelski showing you can. Everything that I've seen for Blake Wheeler goes to show he's good for 50 points. That's all you need.
He's just overpaid. He's overpaid.
I don't know.
Not
To
bad.
me, the pitch to ownership is we should try to trade him. And I think
If you're 31 other teams, do you not sit there and say, hey, let's not make a deal with the Jets because in a week we can just sign him?
That's probably what's going on. And is there a team out there desperate enough for a player like Blake Wheeler that they go, screw it?
They want to jump the line.
Jump the line and then
Yeah.
make the deal. But
That's what you're banking on for the Jets, is that in the GM group chat, everyone isn't like, LOL, shovel day off. We'll just sit here and wait, and you have to buy him out, and we can get him for just the money.
it all comes back to he's played his last game as a Jet.
Yeah.
He gone. He's done.
I wonder how he feels about that. Do you think he's probably ready to move on?
Yeah. There's anecdotally, I've heard from other sources, like basically it sounds like he's mentally prepared for this. And like, this is not going to come as a surprise to him. It's not going to come as a shock. He's seen the writing on the wall. Was Rick Bowness fired?
No.
Well,
I also look
there you go.
I look at that. Sometimes you're in a situation and you're there too long and it becomes toxic.
That might be what happened.
And maybe we see a different guy on a different team. And if he has to have less responsibility and maybe he can just start to have fun again. Right? Like the Panthers, let's say it's the Panthers. Panthers are so much fun.
Well,
and he could go and have some fun.
This isn't an apples to apples comparison, but the Leafs tried to build a team around Phil Kessel, and it didn't really work.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't able to surround him with talent, etc. X, Y, Z. Then they send him to Pittsburgh. He wins back-to-back cups, and he won another in Vegas. You can throw an asterisk on it if you want. Whatever. He's got 3 rings. Maybe Blake Wheeler with reduced responsibilities is a sort of similar situation where he can help you. Like, again, using the Panthers as an example, like who's going to have a bigger impact on your roster? Eric Stahl at this point in his career or Blake Wheeler? Mm-hmm. It's Blake Wheeler. He's probably going to cost you a little more. Probably a lot more. Anyway, he's done in Winnipeg. And if they're going to make the transition or retool that they want to make, they have to close the book on Blake Wheeler.
I think I don't know if you've heard anything on Scheifele, but I feel like that's got to change too.
I have not.
Your bat looks a lot bigger when it's not surrounded by other bats, wouldn't you say? It stands out.
Other bats?
Baseball is back.
I feel like you should have gone with like other baseballs or grass.
Well, because we're talking about your bat here, right? We want you to have a nice clean bat.
Yeah, the bat looks bigger when it's not surrounded by grass.
Okay.
Would be a better analogy.
Okay. Yeah, if your bat's in tall grass.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
There.
Okay.
Like, you don't want Field of Dreams. We don't want to hide your bat in the thing in the back of the Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Trim your Wrigley Field.
There you go. Bingo.
Yeah, there it is.
And you get 20% off with Manscaped if you use the promo code DANGLE. 20% off and free shipping. Now, we've already told you about the Lawnmower 4.0. And basically, it is the Mike Trout of trimmers. Your confidence level will be sky high, like a well-hit baseball from Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah. What about here? I got one.
Okay, go.
Shave the bat, which is also like the base of your penis.
What?
That's what the ad read says.
Use the promo code DANGLE for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Again, it's promo code DANGLE, 20% off, free shipping, manscaped.com, and DANGLE is spelled DANGLE.
That was the worst thing you've ever done.
It's terrible.
Yep.
Another buyout candidate reported is 33-year-old TJ Brodie. If the Leafs bought TJ Brodie out, it would cost them $0 on the cap this year and $2.5 million on the cap next year. But I don't think they're going to buy him out, guys, because he's good.
Hockey Twitter has been dunking on Frank Saravalli like the French dude, and hockey Twitter is Vince Carter. I don't even know the French dude's name.
The French dude, where the guy that Vince Carter jumped over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't sure, because I haven't seen the report. I wasn't sure if it was reported as news or reported as,
I don't even know.
Someone speculating. But it goes to show how little news is actually out there. Because, and like I said, it's a quiet zone, because that this would even register.
There aren't a lot of rumors, eh?
Well, no, there's not. I'm not hearing anything. This is the thing. Like, why is it TJ Brodie? And excuse me for this, but he's the Leafs' most boring player. And that's because he's consistent. TJ Brodie, the Leafs' most boring player, definitely a guy that any team would be happy to have in their top 4, even at 33.
At worst, their second best defenseman?
Yeah. And at $5 million, it's a good deal. It's funny how much that story took off. I was just marveling at that because I thought, like, this isn't interesting.
Trade him? Trade him? You can trade him.
Right. You could.
If push came to shove, buy him out. Buy him out? Like, no, you do that for a difficult contract you can't move. Buy him out? No. That doesn't make...
Did you confirm with your smart insider man sources on that?
No. Other than everyone's like, what?
It was a surprise.
CJ's been dropping sneaky gems on the CJ show, and I know they're kicking into overdrive. I just want to get today's show over with so we can listen to tomorrow's CJ show.
Yeah, no kidding.
Honestly.
No kidding. I think
and then come in Friday and be like, did you hear what CJ said?
Yeah, we'll just do a recap of we'll do a CJ fan reaction.
Yeah.
Jesse, what do you got up there on your screen? What are you looking at?
Arizona's cap friendly.
Why?
Because they bought out 2 players yesterday, Zach Cassian and Patrick Nemeth.
Yeah, and that is my my curse continues, by the way. Because I think those are then I think they're all their buyout slots are done, are they not?
Yeah. Because they got the OEL and then now they...
And I said, well, that's going to hurt their game plan. So I suppose does that mean they can't retain on a trade? Or is it just a buyout?
I was under the impression it was trading.
Okay.
The retains salary slot?
Yeah, salary retention slot.
Yeah.
Just trading.
I just couldn't help but think yesterday, like with all due respect to Cassian and Nemeth, getting bought out by the Coyotes has to be a tough day.
Well, it is, and also the Zach Cassian deal was bad when it was signed.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for either of those guys to find an NHL job next season.
You think so? Not even as like a depth guy?
You got bought out by the Coyotes. The only difference is I don't remember what Cassian was making.
2.5.
Oof!
For 4 years. That was a Ken Holland deal.
Wow. Okay, so, and Nemeth was making over 2 as well, I think. The only hope those guys have is signing league men somewhere.
Right. Cassian in 51 games had 2 goals. Minus 18.
I genuinely worry about him.
Why?
That brain is taking a lot of hits, man.
Yeah?
Every time he fights, I cringe. He shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
And he was taking on Arbor Jacki, and no.
Yeah?
You got to stop, Zach. You got to stop.
Yeah, 33 years old. I remember when he was a draft pick. I used to pick him in NHL. I used to do like the fantasy drafts.
Oh, he was awesome.
His potential was huge, and he was also gigantic in the games.
He's
crush people with them.
Huge. He's always been belligerent. Won a Memorial Cup with the Windsor Spitfires. It's just, man, that head.
How long are the Coyotes going to keep doing this? They have 11 players under contract or on their roster right now. Okay. 28 under contract. Next year they have 12 players under contract.
Are they moving? This wasn't rhetorical. Are they moving?
Well, not this year.
Not this season. They're going to be playing in Arizona and Mullet Arena.
But not.
Oh, then as long as they're in Arizona, they're going to keep doing this. They have no incentive to compete.
Well, yeah.
They're in a barn. They're in a 5,000 seat university arena.
3,200 seat.
With what? Oh my God. So even worse.
Remember with the retrofitting, they had to cut like 1,800 seats out.
No, it's 4,600.
It's 4,600?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
4,600.
All right.
When the NHL gets its 33rd team, they'll be expanding to 32. They play 82 exhibition games.
You should also know that the Coyotes will play just one of their 9 preseason games at home.
It doesn't make sense to play preseason games there.
No.
Dude, they're shipping them off to Australia.
It released their preseason schedule on Tuesday. It will play 2 games against the LA Kings in Melbourne. And then they're going to play in Wichita, Cedar Park, Texas, Palm Springs, California. Then they're going to play in St. Louis, Las Vegas, and Anaheim before rounding it out in Tucson when they will face the Ducks on October 7th before kicking off the year. The Coyotes will not play any preseason games in Mullet Arena, and I don't believe that they played any there last year either.
How many forwards are on their roster next season? Currently signed.
Currently?
Yeah. For next year.
I mean, for a team in that spot.
Not the one coming up in September. I mean, the 2024 season.
Oh, for the 2024 season.
Yeah.
Okay, Clayton Keller.
You got 1.
I hope he's available. I really like him.
Nick Schmaltz?
You got 2.
Oh, wow.
And he might get traded.
Nick Ritchie?
No, he's a Flame now.
Yeah. Remember he got traded for his brother?
Got traded. Yeah. Oh, that sucks.
I'm trying to think anyone on the back end. Nope, they traded Chikrin.
Just forwards.
It's just, oh man.
Yep.
Is that it?
Lawson Krause is In terms of defensemen who are under contract to begin the 2024 season, 0. They have 3 RFAs.
That's after this coming season.
After this season, they got 3 RFAs and nobody else under contract.
Who's under contract for this season?
They got Joshua Brown, Valimaki, JJ Moser, and Victor Soderstrom. Those are the defensemen. They got 4 defensemen so far. They got Liam O'Brien, Travis Boyd, Barrett Hayton, Lawson Krause, Nick Schmaltz, and Clayton Keller. Those are their forwards. And then in goal, Steve's favorite player,
Karel Vejmelka.
Who they're apparently trying to trade.
I mean,
They don't have a hockey team yet.
But, okay.
Karel Vejmelka cost them Connor Bedard. They should have. Well, no, the Coyotes should have a top 3 pick. They should have a top 3 pick because they should have finished last, but Karel Vejmelka fucked it up.
Okay, so my question then is, are the Coyotes playing chess while the rest of us are playing checkers? Because
What?
they have to fill out a team, right? They're going to get high draft picks this year. Vejmelka's probably going to get them some more draft picks. If he goes to St. Louis, he'll get, that's a mid first round pick,
Is
right?
there a limit to how many draft picks you can have?
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think so.
They currently have 4 second-round picks next year.
So there is a limit on, how many...
I can't even get my point here.
How many-
Can I just get my point out
Sure,
one
go
quick
ahead.
second?
Go ahead.
They're playing.
They have an entirely free roster next season when the cap jumps 5 to 10 or 5 to 7 million.
And to quote The Simpsons, and what would I pay them with? Banana bread?
Yeah, they're not spending the money.
But
They're
what
trying to
if?
spend the least amount of money possible.
We at least have to acknowledge there's a very slight possibility. We have to acknowledge it. They are if they were a rich team, a team with an arena, rich enough to have an arena, we'd be looking at them going, this is going to be crazy.
So, like you're saying, if...
They have a ton of draft capital, they have prospects, and they have a ton of room for free agents.
So one
Yeah, but they're
night...
not that.
One night, Mark Cuban gets like super drunk and buys the Coyotes off Wish.
Yes.
And then decides, you know what?
Etsy, by the way,
Etsy, yeah, sure. And they're going to be a cap team and we're winning the cup next year.
Yeah.
Like that's the scenario you're talking about.
Yeah.
Adam.
I mean, they're set up for that. They're at least set up for it.
Not really.
All the Fast and the Furious movies were more realistic than the scenario you just painted.
Why? Okay, why is that? We at least need to discuss why it wouldn't happen.
They don't have money. I was not, friggin' playing 3D chess when I lived with my parents. I was broke. That's why I was there.
Okay,
and
but
that's why the Coyotes are where they are.
But because the salary cap is in place to keep teams like the Coyotes alive, revenue share must take care of it. For instance, the Coyotes will get a check from the NHL
salary cap's killing them.
for revenue share, for $5 million this year. That at least has to help them.
See,
They're going to get $5 million in revenue share this year. The cap helps.
the salary cap is designed to
$5
help
million.
those shitty teams, very, very shitty teams. But also, there's a cap floor that says, well, you got to try.
Yeah,
And
but
so every year
they
the floor-
circumvent that by getting contracts that are dead cap.
Yeah.
And
So
they bring those in so they don't have to actually reach the floor.
Yeah. So stop being mad at Tampa and Vegas and everybody else for doing it because the Coyotes are doing it the other way.
Yeah.
Well, hey, there's plenty of anger to go around. I'll be mad at both. Thanks.
Revenue share. I'm not going to be mad at that.
No, I know.
I don't care. Circumvent it. It's a stupid cap anyway.
Jesse, how many reserve slots do the Coyotes have? It's a number near the top of the cap friendly page, and it should be out of 90.
Reserve lists, they have 49 of 90.
Okay. So that means 41. I'm good at math. They have, at any given time, a team is allowed to have 90 players in their organization.
And 50 under contract.
50 under contract. So in theory, you could have 50 players under contract and 40 unsigned or sliding draft picks.
Bodies, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, there is technically a limit to the amount of draft picks you could have, but even the Coyotes, I'm looking at that goofy page you have. Even the Coyotes, there's no chance they hit it.
The contract situation, they have 28. We're always talking about the Leafs are at their 50 limit. They're pushing it. They can't get any more. The Coyotes have 28 players of the 50
under contract.
in
the whole organization.
28 of 50. They're barely a hockey team.
Yeah, so last year wasn't bad. This year's going to be bad. Well, we'll see what happens.
Here's what I'm seeing with this conversation is the Canadian media bullying the Coyotes again. I can't believe you two. I can't believe you two in the Canadian media, known for its bullying tactics.
2 + 2 is 4. Doesn't matter where I'm from.
I'm excited to see how they try and end it. Whenever they decide to try and win, what they do.
I feel like it's going to be like that South Park episode with Russell Crowe and his tugboat. Just no tugger, and it'll just be Gary Bettman. Have you seen that episode?
Oh,
dark.
How does that apply?
It doesn't.
How does that apply?
That's how it looks in my mind. Okay, that's how it looks in my mind. Fighting around the world.
No, they're gonna need a building. Until they have a building, there's really no point. And this was the concern from the beginning. Like, they have no incentive to try to win, and they have no incentive to try to make money. They have more incentive to try to win. Like, maybe in the final year or two, and down the line, you're going to have a building. Try to win a little bit so that you can generate some buzz. Mm-hmm. But like, I get the impression this is going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, this is
You're hoping for a miracle.
And you have your starting goaltender on a Czech podcast saying we didn't sell out a single game. The tickets are too highly priced.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Nothing came of the rumors that the NHLPA filed the grievance, or were looking into the grievances filed by players based on the Coyotes. I think it was the travel in particular. They were talking about it wasn't up to the standard of the CBA.
What was it about? Did they ever get drilled down into specifics about what about the travel wasn't up to the standard?
Just to be clear, are all of these players moonlighting as Canadian media?
They must be.
They must be. Why would anyone make this shit up? I can't understand that logic.
So it was Larry Brooks reported in his New York Post, correct? So he said, I'm not engaging in a back and forth here, but I did not report. He said he didn't report that the PA had filed complaints or grievances with the league, only that players had lodged complaints with the PA and that the issue would be discussed at an upcoming meeting. And Craig Morgan had checked on the reports and said that there were no CBA violations. But Larry Brooks had reported that players were complaining about some of the travel situations with the Coyotes. So,
I mean,
nothing really came of it, but there were rumors.
Oof. You know what they could be? If they draft well, they could be fun as like the fun in the way of maybe not in the same way because this team was loaded with future superstars. But they could be kind of like a fun all-rookie team, like a Team North America light. I'm trying to find positives here, guys. Bear with me.
There isn't one. Like, listen, if they draft a college-eligible kid, have fun in your next 4 years at school, kid. Unless you get traded. Like, players aren't going to go. They're not going to go, man. It's dire. It's real dire.
Yeah, it's not good. Okay, the draft is next week in Nashville, like we told you. Something I wanted to throw out there is that if you are a fan of seeing the NHL get better, the NBA draft is Thursday.
Woo!
And I encourage you to watch the NBA draft, even if you don't know a single name beyond Victor Wembanyama. The reason I want you to watch the NBA draft purely is for the entertainment purposes.
Well,
just to see how they do it.
There's a guy named Scoot.
There's a guy named Scoot. There is...
No. Your favorite player of all time?
Who's that?
Grady Dick.
Grady Dick?
Oh, man.
That could be a top 10 pick.
Between Scoot, Victor Wembanyama, and Grady Dick. It is sure to be a star-studded event.
Can you imagine all the headlines that they're just going to be like, well, dick pic at number 9.
Oh, my God.
I think we got it.
Come on.
I think we got
number
the NHL
69,
headline.
it's dick.
What's the Grady on that dick pic?
We grade all the dick pics.
Oh, what's the Grady?
I like that.
I thought it was good.
The Grady on that dick
no, I
pic.
did. I like that. I like that.
Slapper.
That's not
In all
bad.
seriousness, no. I think the way the NBA does it is the way I love it. Because I know that Adam Silver has to come out and Gary Bettman would have to play this role, and it sucks when Gary Bettman has to play this role, but there's a time limit. The teams call their draft pick in. They're not there in their bad suits. Adam Silver cuts a nice figure in a suit. He looks good. And it's all about the player. It's not about the 40 guys on stage taking a stupid picture. It's like, the assistant general manager brought his daughter. She's going to be in this picture too. Like, what the fuck happens?
Why do you hate children?
Nothing against kids. But what I like about it is they walk on stage, they get their hat, they get their jersey, they take the picture, they move on, and you get to the next thing. And it's done within like a 2-hour time frame. And there's a lot of like a lot of Michael Bay going on. A lot of what? A lot of There's a lot of shit that's like, it's a show. And I want you to see a show. Because I feel like when I do hear from people who are like, I don't know why you're so hard on the draft. I'm like, it's because you haven't, like, I'm like, I instantly ask them, what other drafts have you watched? They're like, I don't watch another draft. I don't care about anything other than hockey. Okay. Watch the NBA draft. Watch the NFL draft. You don't have to know a single thing and you're going to get hyped. It's a great piece of television.
Drama,
it's
too.
Reality show drama, which is what sports is. Mm-hmm. Sports is a reality show. You say you don't like Real Housewives, fine, but you like the Leafs. That's real life reality show drama. The original.
Counter. You don't have to watch the draft.
But that's the thing with the NBA draft is I'm setting aside my Thursday evening to watch it, even though I know like 3 guys, because I know I'll be entertained.
No.
The NHL one, it's like, I know I don't have to watch this. I'll just read the recap in the morning.
Adam, you're missing the point. What? You don't have to watch the draft, whether you watch the draft or not. The Objective Basketball Podcast has you covered. S and Gun.
That's true.
Who have been doing a fantastic job this season. Mm-hmm. We'll be covering what could be a very big draft for the league and a very big draft for the Raptors, specifically Canada's team. And as we discovered during the 2019 final, most of North America's team. Everyone cheered for the Raptors. Everyone. And then immediately said the championship didn't count.
That's kind of how it went. Yeah.
It's kind of how it went. Yeah.
It's kind of how it went.
Yeah.
So S and Gun on the Objective Basketball Podcast. I'm looking forward to that recap because silliness is going to happen.
I am too. And I just wanted to throw it out there that I think you should absolutely check it out because it's what it could be. NHL players right now are cooler than ever. You see how Austin Matthews and Willie look and Mitch Marner look when they come to the arena, and the Leafs are posting their fits when Austin Matthews showed up at the NHL awards last year and the year before, he looked great. Looked good. These kids are fun, they're stylish, they want to make an impression. I would love to see the NHL do something just like it.
When's Matthews going to shock the world and shave his head? It's coming.
Shave his head.
You're asking him to give up?
No, I'm not asking him to give up.
No.
I'm not.
What is this?
Listen, lots of hairlines have been saved.
Hairlines have been saved. But Ryan Getzlaf was one of those guys who was like, I know which way the wind's blowing. And he got rid of all of it.
And it made him look scarier.
But Matthews, like, he has such a confidence. Like, he just rocks the shit out of it.
Yeah, but you can save that, like I said.
How early is too early to give up? If you're like a 28-year-old guy with like a widow's peak,
okay,
is it okay to give up?
No.
If you make $11.5 million a year, it is always too early to give up. Always. You're rich. Go get whatever the technology is these days. You don't need to lose your hair. If you are not rich, I don't know.
Go look at a picture.
It starts with buzz cuts.
Go look at a picture of 24, 25-year-old Lewis Hamilton. Go look at a picture of 24, 25-year-old Sebastian Vettel, who I don't expect you to know, but I
know the name.
He won 4 Formula One Grand Prix championships in a row before Lewis won 7 in a row. Both of them lost their hair in their early 20s because male pattern baldness hits you in your early 20s and your late 50s. So if you might get through one, but then it might hit you in your 50s. But you can save your hair in the meantime. Lewis Hamilton, you'd have no idea.
Baldness has multiple checkpoints?
Yes, it does. Now, there's other ways that you can go bald, but that's the usual thing that happens. And you could save those hairlines. LeBron, another guy.
No, LeBron's he goes bald now.
Yeah, he does.
Basically. You know?
But he did.
Yeah, and
went-
the hairline was he got like the rich guy. They're gonna put. I go to Turkey for a weekend, and they put my hair back. You know,
Yeah.
he did that for a little.
Yeah, he
bit.
did.
Is that where he goes?
Yeah.
He goes to Turkey.
Yeah, because the hairline was at the back of his head, and then he came back a couple months later, and it was like, "Oh, LeBron's got hair."
Your teeth and your hair, you go to Turkey for some reason.
Your nose jobs too,
Nose
right?
jobs, too.
Those are
cheaper,
big.
but they're better. Or
I went
something?
to Oshawa.
For your what?
For your hairline. Oh,
For your nose.
to get it readjusted.
The dog.
My nose.
The dog.
I thought he did a very good
He
job.
did. He did. And the doctor that said it right again. Ooh.
Some guys also just look better bald, and they don't
Yeah.
even know it until they give up.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. Have you seen early career Stone Cold
Yeah.
Steve Austin?
With
I
hair.
haven't. Can we pull up a
He has like Hulk Hogan hair.
No.
Long Hulk Hogan hair.
No.
Yeah, go look up
Stone
like
Cold had long hair?
Stone Cold, like his WCW days. It's Adam. It's going to be disturbing. I'm warning you.
No way.
I'm warning you right
He was
now.
in WCW too? This is how little I know.
He was in WCW, ECW, and WWE.
Yeah, here it is.
Whoa.
He was Chris Jericho light, you know?
He was stunning.
That was Stone Cold?
Stunning Steve Austin. That was his name.
Yeah.
Stunning Steve Austin.
Wow.
Look at that.
Damn.
But if you look up at the top, you're like, all right,
yeah.
it's coming.
Yeah.
When's it coming? I don't know, but it's coming,
I
Steve.
don't know.
He looked better bald, I think.
Well, yeah, exactly. He went down to buzz cut, and when he was coming up with the Stone Cold character, you can tell what my TikTok algorithm is. He decided, you know what? I'm bicking it.
I'm bicking it.
And he bicked it.
Also, if you're hitting your 30s and you're starting to see gray hairs, apparently, this is according to my friend who cuts hair for a living and owns a salon. The hairs that go gray, he's like, you want hair to go gray. That's good because it means that it's staying.
It's sticking around. Oh, I started going gray at 24.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I've had gray hair since like my early 20s. Just
I'm
spotting.
I'm just getting it now, and I'm starting to get it here in my beard a little bit. Well, what beard I can grow, which is nothing, and then apparently along the side. But
Welcome to the resistance.
I don't know. I don't see it too much. I'm still pretty youthful.
You got salt and pepper.
That's right. Well, not like you.
Well,
gorgeous.
hey.
Salt and pepper is a good thing, apparently.
What were we talking about before this?
Nothing. Doesn't matter. No, we were talking about the fact that
I randomly
Talking about
we were
the-
talking about outfits at the draft, and I was like, what
draft.
if Matthews went bald?
You're doing a bad job promoting our sidecast for the draft.
That's right. Well, listen, we're gonna watch anyway, and I think it'll be
We're going to
fun.
be watching live on Twitch with all of you who want to tune into us.
That's right. And here's the thing: is we'll make it entertaining because the NHL refuses to.
twitch.tv/SDPN live if you want to follow our channel.
Might even see my feet again this year.
Toes.
Jesse, I sent you an article, and we can use this footage before Steve gets worried about it, because it is from a press conference. There is a video in there, and it is you're gonna have to watch an ad, and then there's 10 seconds in, and then it's gonna go directly to a man named Bill Foley. What do you know about Bill Foley, Steve Dangle?
He is the owner of the Vegas Golden Knights.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I know about him. But if I can extrapolate, I'm going to say his legal name is William.
But what do you deduce from Bill Foley's ownership thus far?
Oh, I mean, he is aggressive. He is bold.
There's
he
a
is
guy with
bold
all.
what?
He has all of his hair. It turned gray, but he's got it all.
He's got it all. He is bold in his words and in his actions.
10 seconds in, Jesse.
He said the Vegas Golden Knights are going to make the playoffs in 3 years, win the cup in 6. He was wrong. They made the playoffs immediately and won the cup in 6.
Here we go. Here's what he had to say.
We're not done. And I told Carly when we signed him up to an 8-year deal that I expect 3 Stanley Cups during his contract. And I was with him on the ice. We got our picture taken. I looked over at him and I said, "Okay, you got one." Remember what I said?
Not satisfied.
Not bad. So we'll
not
pause it there.
fun.
So Bill Foley saying this. It's the kind of thing that I think, like, if you're Tampa Bay Lightning, you know what it's like to have an owner like Jeff Fink. You know, you got the owner that really wants to win.
Owner.
Owner.
One word or one name. There's a face to it. Like, I don't know. I feel like we need to make this about the Leafs.
Oh, I think so.
They don't have a face. Like, Larry Tenenbaum's not that.
He's just like a nice uncle.
He's there. He's the closest thing that they have to it. I think he was the first person to get the Larry O'Brien when the Raptors won it. But like when was the last time you heard him speak? about like the Leafs and what they're doing, and I don't know. He doesn't speak brashly and boldly like that, or like some of the other front-facing owners that you see, or even he's not even a villain that you can blame for stuff like Jeremy Jacobs with the Boston Bruins, right? The team needs a face. I feel like every team needs a face, and Vegas.
Well, we've said in the past, owners should probably stay out of the press.
That is true. That is very true.
So that's why I brought it up, because I thought, okay, he did stay out of the press though until they won.
What if go in the press, just don't be stupid? What if that?
Right. And really only talk when they win. Like that's the only time I've heard Larry Tannenbaum talk was at the Raptors parade. But I'm seeing something.
I don't even remember what he said.
I'm seeing something concerning here with the Leafs. I don't know if it's anything. You got your tinfoil hat on the other day, and you guys can tell me what you think.
Let's do it.
I'm seeing Raptors fans going, what are they doing? Running this back. The reports this morning from Michael Grange of Sportsnet are that the Raptors don't believe that they're much worse or much different from the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat just went to the finals, but the Miami Heat were an 8th seed, right? Maybe if they were healthy the whole year, they would have been higher up, but the Raptors believe that they can't be that much far behind that, and why can't they beat Giannis Antetokounmpo?
Any team thinking they can replicate what the Panthers or Heat did is setting themselves up for failure.
So the Raptors, Gary Trent Jr. is going to stick around. It looks like they want to re-sign Fred VanVleet. We'll see if they can. And Pirtle as well, who they traded a first and 2 seconds for at the trade deadline.
Shit sakes.
When they had the opportunity to actually go after it. Then we have the conversation of Brendan Shanahan. And Brendan Shanahan, after Dubas was fired, called the core four, who they are de-emphasizing, but he did call those 4 players. But we're de-emphasizing them. But he made sure when the GM was fired that he was going to call those 4 guys, even though we're de-emphasizing them. And said, and he could be lying, and said they're sticking around. You guys, yeah, don't worry. Please don't worry about a thing. Results don't matter. I'm wondering if there is a larger MLSE shift here. They are getting into the playoffs regularly, which is what we needed. Bell and Rogers taking over from the pension plan, undoubtedly a positive. Look at what's happened in the last 10 years to both franchises. They went from doing dick all, both of them, Toronto being the worst ranked sports city in the entirety of North America, according to Sports Illustrated. I remember that article. 2009. Not that long ago.
That was not a good time.
But I'm seeing a little bit of, well, things could get better, but they could get worse. So let's keep them the same from both franchises. And I feel like that, to me, signals maybe something above the franchises. A change of the winds. Well, let's not be too aggressive, because we do want to get into the playoffs. Because if you get into the playoffs, you have a shot. In what world do the Raptors believe that they actually have a shot at a title?
I don't know.
Jesse, any thoughts?
On the Leafs being a little complacent because of upper management. I think if upper management takes a look at anything that's happened in the last decade of running MLSE, it's that winning is the biggest revenue driver. And I think that they recognize that. And based on like things that happened in the championship, I assume if you took a look at the books of the Raptors and the Leafs and the whole organization as a whole, it would have peaked in 2019, you know? So I think they know that winning, if they want to make more money, that making the team the best is by winning and getting deeper into the playoffs and not just the second round. So I think they're always striving to be successful.
Okay.
Because they're always striving to make more money.
Do you think that Masai and Bobby Webster are right to think that they're just a step behind the Miami Heat?
No.
They had an opportunity to prove they were a playoff team. They didn't even lose to DeMar DeRozan.
Lost to the Bulls.
They lost to DeMar DeRozan's daughter. Like, they were brutal at the foul line.
Yeah.
And they blew their one and only opportunity at home. You suck.
And they were up after 3 quarters. I was at the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Leafs. Do they have a right to believe they're Stanley Cup contenders?
No.
So I'm not saying anything definitively, but I am pointing out that this is strange.
Your goalie's not even locked up. Like, what are you doing?
This is weird to me. Both of them. Because Masai has been very aggressive. The Leafs under Dubas were quite aggressive.
There's an element of what the Leafs are up to. I'm not even going to say doing because we don't know if they're doing anything. There's an element of I'm just going to wait for the next week or two because they have a lot of business to do, and I'm just sort of sitting back waiting and seeing what they do. Right? So I'm not going to, they need to do this. They need to do that. I'm not going to yell and rant and rave about it. I've already said what I think they should do with the core, and that is not keep it together. But I'll pass judgment when the team is a little bit more fully formed. And I think, July 2nd, 3rd, we'll have a pretty good idea of roughly what the team is going to look like. And then if it's something that I like, I'll let you know. If it's something I don't like, I'll let you know. But just the plan right now appears to be the same dudes. And I can't get behind that.
Okay. I just wanted to ask that. Now, a couple last pieces of information. ESPN has signed a 2-year deal with Slam Ball.
Let's go!
The Slam Ball League is coming back. If you guys used to remember, I think it was on Spike TV.
Yeah.
Front Office Sports has broken this news. The agreement will, quote, provide unprecedented national reach for the upstart property, returning after 20 years. And the interesting thing about Slam Ball is they're taking advantage of the slow season in North American sports, which is mid-July to the beginning of September. And they start July 21st.
This
Fuck
year?
that.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So they've
Got a Slam Ball podcast.
it will be shown. And here's the interesting thing: how many?
Do it.
And I've never had I've never watched hockey in the States on ESPN since 2004. But I know that hockey watching on ESPN was very difficult. Right, a lot of times you couldn't even watch it on the main channel. Slam Ball will be shown on ESPN, ESPN2, and also will be on ESPN Plus. And it does. And by the way, Slam Ball also not just basketball, but it also you can hit people in it. I believe, can't you?
Yeah, there's a little bit of body check.
There's body
Some
checking.
contact.
I like air body checks.
Yeah.
Nuts.
I wonder if
not a
any
lot.
ESPN anchors are going to get on panels and insult the league and say no one cares, like they did with the NHL.
Oh, is that what they did?
Yeah, remember that
Yeah.
when someone they
Stephen
asked-
A.
Yeah, Stephen
Oh.
A. They're like, who's going to bring a title back to New York? And someone said the
Ra-
Rangers, and Stephen A. went, oh,
The Rangers don't count.
Yeah.
oh Lord, yeah. The implication sure was the Rangers don't count.
Yeah. And then his apology video, we played it on the show.
That's right, I remember that.
It was like a half, just you misunderstood me, but it was like, no, we all heard
No,
what
we
you
heard you,
said.
Steven. You don't care.
Stephen A. has one joke about hockey, and he says it once every couple of years when he's asked about it.
Which is he doesn't care.
No. He said, all I know about hockey is the puck is black.
Wow. Slam Ball is actually going to be being brought together by a couple of people you would know, especially from hockey. There's a large group of investors, but Harris Blitzer Sports Entertainment co-founder David Blitzer, 76ers and New Jersey Devils co-owner David Adelman, and Fanatics chief Michael Rubin are all a part of the investors. It only had $11 million in Series A funding, which $11 million on its own is a lot, but it's not a lot when you spread it over several different teams. There will be 30 hours of live programming, so it's going to be. I'm fascinated.
I'll watch that.
Well, what else is there to do in the summer? What else are you watching? What's ESPN running that's crazy in the other than baseball?
You got to have party pleaser stuff on the TV.
Absolutely. The last.
You got to watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah, you do, man.
No, I don't.
No, there's Matthews highlights.
Been a couple years.
Jesse, I watched like a 1,400 part TikTok about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's not the same.
I'm joking.
Fuck you talking about?
Ryan Smith.
The ending's bad. Why would I watch it? Everyone's like, "Oh, the ending's bad."
This last season was just mediocre.
So when
based
do I
on
just stop
the
watching?
level that they put? Oh, you watched the whole thing?
Okay, here's when I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
Never.
Well,
That's upsetting.
if you watch,
What's your favorite show?
We're not doing this. This isn't.
I've never heard of that one.
Hey, I'm gonna insult things you like.
Wow.
Steve Dangle.
What's your favorite show?
Hey, what do you love? I'm gonna shit on it. Steve Dangle.
What was the last thing you watched on Netflix?
No, go break another Brendan Manel trade.
Whoa!
Go spend your time doing that.
Whoa!
And not watching a great television series.
what's Steve Staios doing these days anyway?
Hey, listen.
I'm just kidding.
I'm so mad Kevin Weeks scooped me.
Ah, I know.
You know what? I spend all this time not watching television shows so I can be the second person on a trade. All right? And you're not appreciating that. And you should.
I don't appreciate that at all.
No.
Okay, so there's a name, Ryan Smith, not Oilers legend Ryan Smith. This is basketball's Ryan Smith, who is the founder of Qualtrics, chairman and CEO of the Utah Jazz, Real Salt Lake, and BYU. He's a BYU alum. He is one of the owners that's affected by the regional television issues that Bally Sports has seen, right?
Yes.
So, Utah, for better or for worse, or Salt Lake City, maybe not the major market like a New York or LA would be, right? I think that's a fair point. So he is doing what several other teams have done, and he has brought in the production of their games in-house. So a lot of teams, especially in that affected by the Bally Sports bankruptcy, and Bally Sports will survive the bankruptcy from what I'm hearing, they're going to take it and they're going to do their own broadcasts. So fans will be able to go directly to the Utah Jazz for their broadcasting rights regionally. If the Utah Jazz have a national game, it'll be on ESPN or TNT. Okay. Now, in America, you can always tell where a station is based on two letters, W or K. WHTZ or HTZ in New York is Z100. WFAN, East Coast. KRPL, where my mom used to work in Moscow, Idaho. KRPL is on
Idaho?
close. Yeah.
Moscow?
Yeah, Moscow,
Like
Idaho.
Russia?
No, it's called Moscow.
Is it
Idaho.
spelled the same?
Yeah, completely the same. Yeah, it's on the border with Washington State. So you've got University of Idaho and Washington State University within 20 minutes of each other.
Got a rivalry with St. Petersburg, Wyoming.
That's right. There you go. Did you know that there's an Athol, Idaho as well? It's actually spelled that.
ATHOL?
Yeah, OLE.
Oh, there's an
Athol.
There's an Athol Street in Oshawa.
Is there?
It's right by the arena.
Oh, that's awesome. Perfect. So the K is the West Coast. So the Jazz's call sign will be the Jazz's like radio call sign will be Cages. KJZZ. So I told you all that to tell you that Jazz games will be broadcast and brought back to Cages.
Oh, let's go, Cages.
Oh, nice.
Which is nice. And I just wanted to end the show. If we're doing a press conference, that's fine.
Sure.
But I thought you should know that Cages will be carrying all of the Jazz games this year. All 69
right.
of them.
Can't wait to watch a little bit of that Cages.
It's pretty funny. It's a good name. And they don't seem to shy away from it. Good for them.
You got to lean into the Cages.
Are we doing a press conference, Jesse?
Yeah, I can ask a couple.
Let's do it.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
If Boston decides to move on from Ullmark and go for Swayman instead, this is from David.
Ooh.
Can Ullmark be traded to the Leafs? He has $5 million and 2 years left on his contract. In a win now mode, I think that would be a nice fit.
Ullmark is going to win. I mean, yeah, I think the Vezina Trophy winning goalie would be a nice fit on the team that I cheer for. No, that's just the Bruins have a decision to make with Swayman, basically. They locked up Busey, I think is his name, who's their third, and he's pretty good. They're keeping Ullmark. And if they are trading Ullmark, he ain't going to the Leafs. I mean, you're looking at a team that you're going to have a dogfight with to get into the playoffs and maybe in the playoffs, and you're going to give them your starting goalie? No, not a chance.
You don't think so?
No. It's a fun idea. Also, don't make goalie trades with Boston. Haven't we learned?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
That's a good one.
That's a good
This
point.
is from Not Brad Marchand. When is Game Over Hoopify coming to the SDPN full time?
Am I allowed to break that we have spoken?
Yeah.
We have spoken
We have spoken.
to Mr. Hoopify
Seems like a nice person.
and continue to speak to Mr. Hoopify,
Yeah.
and that's all I'm saying.
There you go.
This is from Kin, Kyn. What do you think of the idea of bringing Connor Brown back? He's a UFA and would probably come back on a cheapish deal.
I absolutely love it.
Oh, let's go.
And I think it's the sort of thing the Leafs could explore and he would consider. I think there's a sourness with players, when a GM trades them. Like, have you ever, he was on a podcast, I can't remember which one.
Steve Dangle Podcast.
Yeah, I wish.
Potentially.
He told the story of when he was traded.
It's the Luke Gazdic show.
Oh, it was the Luke Gazdic show. So he was at Matt Martin's wedding when he found out.
Oh, that's
and he said he was 3 sheets to the wind, and like he cried.
Yeah.
Right? It's his childhood team traded him while he's at a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a bitterness there toward the GM who traded you. Not necessarily with Connor Brown, but there just often is.
Which you could, even if it sticks around for like 6 months, you're like, ugh. And then after a while, you're like, it's a business. Shit happens.
Different guy.
Different guy.
I mean, he provides a little bit of what they lack. There's some familiarity.
What is he
there.
now, though? Because he's not the player that he was.
That is a good question. I almost look at him a little bit like the Leafs reclamation project with Tyler Ennis.
Okay.
Making roughly the same amount of money, missed a crazy amount of games.
Mm-hmm.
But if he returns to form, and I mean, as far as I know, the medical staff is the same. If he returns to form, it could be great for all parties. And I tell you what, sign a short-term deal here. Wait for the cap to go up. Make sure your career is back online. If everything goes well, he could make a whack of money somewhere else.
Right. He only played 4 games last year for the Washington Capitals.
Yeah, I think it could be a match, man. I think it could be a match. Like for a really, like I'm talking
$1 million, $1.5 million?
Would he consider a variable deal? I mean, you only play 4 games. Like, you might need to play in the AHL.
One story that I think could mirror that is Sean Monahan, and I meant to bring it up earlier in the show. I just skipped over it in my notes, but he just re-signed with the Habs. It's a bonus-laden deal that could go up to about $2 million. But I think that's if you're rooting for somebody on a human level, Sean Monahan's your guy next year because he played 25 games. He was expecting to, the Habs were expecting it like a late first or an early second for him, and he tore his groin.
Well, he was supposed to be like a pure cap dump, pretty much. And he was a useful player for them when he was playing.
So he was on TSN radio and he was talking about it, and he says he feels like close to 100%.
Yeah, I mean, every player says that, but like these hips, they take time, man. Jamie Benn was not a great player for Dallas for a while. Tyler Seguin was not a great player for Dallas for a while, and they both had pretty considerable bounce backs. That's a tough one. You kind of need your hips.
Yep, you do. So Connor Brown, very interesting. What else you got, Jesse?
I want to tell you about Charlie Culberson. Are you aware of utility player? Plays a little infield, outfield, wherever they need him for the Atlanta Braves.
I don't know anything about him.
Has not made any appearances for the Braves this season, and he was sent down to back down to the minors after being called up earlier this year. He didn't make any appearances during his stint up with the Braves, and then they sent him down this past weekend.
Okay.
Charlie being sent down to the minors was significant because the day he was sent down to the minors was also the day his dad was going to throw out the first pitch to him on Father's Day.
Oh my God.
So I'll read the story from ESPN. The Atlanta Braves designated Charlie Culberson for assignment with awkward timing Sunday, as the infielder's dad had been scheduled to throw out the first pitch on Father's Day at Truist Park.
Oh, God.
Those plans had to change after Atlanta DFA'd, designated him for assignment, Culberson to make room for catcher Chadwick Tromp. Instead, the father of Braves outfielder Michael Harris II handled the first pitch before the game against the Colorado Rockies. Harris went 5 for 5 in the game, and the Braves won 14-6.
Wow. Well, that's a happy
They're a
ending
good team.
to that story,
Really
I
good
guess.
team.
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
That's rough, dude.
I feel for Charlie. I feel for his father. That is quite a Father's Day present.
Is that an Alex Anthopoulos decision? Is he the guy there?
Yeah, he's GM still there. Yeah. Of all the, do you need Chadwick Tromp back in the lineup that badly?
How do you not just burn all your shit and ask for a trade? Is he an Atlanta guy?
He's from Georgia.
Oh, okay. I was
Does that make it worse?
Well,
Yeah, I
it makes
think
it
so.
worse because I imagine he grew up a Braves fan.
Yeah.
But it makes it better because like I am imagining his dad had to take like a 3-hour flight to. Oh man.
Yeah,
dude.
it's because that's a good question to ask because you wonder why a guy who hadn't played an entire a game, hadn't made an appearance with the Braves, his dad, why would he be throwing out the first pitch? Why would his dad? But it makes sense that he's from Georgia. He's from Rome, Georgia, I believe. Yeah. So
Like
it sucks.
oh,
That's
I'm gonna be thinking about that the whole way home. That is.
well. I mean, at the end of the day, sports are kind of vicious, right? I just think.
Okay.
I just feel like they could have left him in.
Ignore everything I said about Matthews and wanting him to take league min. I did that because I cheer for that team. Unless you play for the Toronto Maple Leafs, do not give these teams shit
Well, also the
ever.
MLB doesn't have like a salary cap; they have a luxury tax.
No, but like, yeah, hey, can you take a little haircut? Fuck you, pay me.
Look how they'll treat you on Father's Day.
They will. Oh, dude, that's brutal.
I wonder what was there. Wasn't there a situation similar to this in the NHL where somebody was sent down and they or scratched when they didn't need to be, or Father's trip or something?
It was a player
Dallas,
on the
was it not?
Dallas Stars when Rick Bowness was still there, and I don't remember the player.
Oh, they had brought their all. It was supposed to be his first career game or something like that, and their family had a bunch of tickets or whatever, and then
they
he got
scratched
healthy
him.
scratched. Yeah, or it wasn't first career game; it was his hometown game. I forget the details, but he had a bunch of family in town, and then he was healthy scratched.
Oh, it's pain.
Just type in like Rick Bowness scratch Dallas.
Just a bunch of pictures of Rick Bowness scratching himself.
God. Why are there so many? There's way too many. We don't need this many. How dare you?
Here, I got the story here.
What do you got? Okay. what was it?
Riley Tuft. He was scratched against the Minnesota Wild. He was Minnesota born. They were playing the Wild, and he had a bunch of family in town. And then right before the game, Bowness scratched him.
There's a few games that have to be a pain in the ass every year as a coach. Like so many players are from Minnesota. Like I imagine Toronto games are a nightmare, especially if you're a Western Conference team and you know you're only playing there once.
Yeah, but the thing about the Toronto games is that the coach is probably happy because usually they show up for them.
Yeah.
Like they get
Yeah.
up for those games. They perform better versus the Leafs because it's Toronto. So
Cool.
awesome.
Really glad about that. Yeah, you never really heard about, oh man, this Vegas-born player is ready to hammer the Golden Knights.
Yikes. Oh man, that's rough.
Yeah, you know.
No, it's tough.
Charlie did not have a great Father's Day.
Yeah, that's crazy. What a crazy story. All right, so we will be back on Friday. CJ show tomorrow, and I think CJ show kind of marks the start of the fun season. This next couple of weeks is going to be unbelievable, and they will have things for you starting tomorrow. That show will be out probably in mid-afternoon, so be sure to check that out. We'll be back Friday, and then Monday, and then Smashville, baby. Woo! I'm excited.
What do you guys think of the submarine?
I hope they find them.
I hope they find them. I think it's weird that people are okay with people just dying. I think that's weird.
The kid going to the Blink 182 concerts.
That's and then he was messaging in like an OnlyFans model, being like,
My dad,
"Think
he's
of
in
me.
a submarine.
Keep me in your thoughts." He did. He did. He did.
The Steve Dangle Podcast.
Powered by Sports Interaction. Want to bet?
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.